Welcome everyone to our next episode of our on-demand webinar series called EvoInsight. We're thrilled to have you join us here today and on this journey. This series isn't just about new content, it's about starting a new conversation, new community, and a whole new wave of insights to share with you. And for our next topic, we want to share a little bit about first impressions of one of our products called ProCap. And joining us today that I'm excited to share is one of our product partners. He is based in Zurich, and he is also the managing partner for a company called Streamwise. And his name is Adrian Landart. He comes with a fascinating background, and he'll be sharing some unique insights into ProCap, into unique insights into Streamwise, and obviously just general topics that we're going to be covering today. Find a comfy seat and let's dive in. Drum roll, Adrian, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to dive into the first question. Like I said, the topic is going to be first impressions. We're going to cover a little bit about Streamwise, the company that you own, and also the product that you represent. So it's a unique product that I've also, obviously, since joining Evolution Measurements, I've learned so much about ProCap. And straight away, people might think, or if they know ProCap, think it's CFD. So this is going to be an exciting conversation that we're going to be covering today because it's not CFD. Okay, first question. I'm going to dive in. Let's get going. Can you start by explaining what Streamwise ProCap is, which we've just covered in the intro, and where it sits within our ecosystem?
I try to. So as you said, people tend to be confused a bit when they see the images that it could be CFD, or they know that type of information coming from CFD. CFD is computational fluid dynamics, so meaning that you do a simulation or you run a simulation to get the flow field around or in an object. Our product, the ProCap, is essentially a software as well, but it's not a simulation software, it's a measurement software. And what it does, it enables the user to use a tool, meaning a probe, as a paintbrush, painting the flow in real time around the object. And when doing that, finishing with a data set that's pretty similar to CFD, and that's why people get confused.
Okay, so would you say it works alongside your current, alongside CFD? It doesn't replace CFD, it works alongside it, or is that incorrect?
No, that's perfectly true, and I like to look at it as a toolbox, like the whole ecosystem of fluid dynamics. So you can separate that into the simulation side and into the measurement side, and there's a lot of activity going on, bringing the two sides together, essentially having the best of both worlds. And that's also a bit the role of ProCap, like to be at the intersection of everything that's available today, right? So we're trying to provide tools that are as simple as smoke probes, but provide the output, the full information that is usually provided by CFD or much more complicated measurement tools. So we really try to sit at the the center of all that more specialized tools that are available.
Okay. That was actually a good analogy that you said earlier. Was it's a toolkit, a great like 3D measurement scan. So if that's, like you said, it's almost like painting colors and like a paintbrush, but it gives a lot more definition and it gives that 3D measurement in real time. So yeah, it's very fascinating when you actually see it in action.
Maybe you can look at a little video here, just maybe explain that better to people.
Yes, you have come prepared. Let's see this video.
We struggle a lot in explaining the method to people because it's so visual and it's so interactive. So what you have to do essentially is take the probe yourself and go measure, right? And that's also the approach we want to follow. That we're not putting a lot of obstacles into the way between the user and the result. So we're trying to remove all those obstacles, make it as intuitive as possible and as fast as possible.
Right.
So
well, please share. Yeah, please go ahead. Share what it looks like.
You see that already?
Yes, I do.
Because it's not coming up here. So what you see on the screen is a little setup we have, because at the beginning, as I said, we struggle a lot of showing people what we do and how it works.
Yeah.
So we had to come up with our little demonstration setup, and that's what you see here. So we built a small wind tunnel. We have a small model car that's obviously very small compared to the probe, but it's just for illustration purposes.
Yeah.
So on the lower left, you already see the probe. It has optical markers, and on the center, on the top of the image, you see the tripod of the camera. So you have to imagine that this probe position is captured by the camera in real time, and then on the screen you see that probe moving in the scene, and you see also the flow field coming up. So if I start that video, I'm now moving in that probe towards the car, and you see the colors coming up on the screen. Yeah. Which I can basically, as I said, use to paint the flow around the car, which in reality is invisible. So that's the basic idea of the software, and with the idea we manage not only to produce fully quantitative data in a volume, but also do the post-processing and do all the learning while you take the data. And
what ideal user would be for ProCap for this particular system? What industry or application do you normally see this being used in?
Fluid dynamics. So that's our goal. It's usually very hard, or it is very hard to get this kind of information from an invisible flow topology. And as I said, we try to be at the intersection of other tools, and with that we also have the goal to provide a tool for students, so it has a big educational value. See that a lot in universities. I can see that, yeah. And also universities are very keen to have tools that they can use for fast prototyping, for innovative ideas. So I would say the university environment is a very good place for ProCap to sit, but we also luckily cover a lot of industrial aspects, because it's much easier and much quicker to use than more traditional measurement tools.
Okay, so would you say industries such as like automotive, aerospace, motorsports, and particularly like wind tunnels, HVAC, and anything in those sort of industries, like, and you covered academic and research labs, but outside of that industry, like engineers and aerodynamics are really a good person for these sort of products. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And there's surprisingly many areas where you have things flowing or air flowing. Yep. So you mentioned HVAC. You have also little fans in computers. You have the ventilation in buildings, like desk fans, all those not so expensive items that usually don't justify a more expensive investigation, but now can be optimized with that much simpler approach.
Okay. Okay, that's it. So that covers obviously the applications and the industries, which is yeah, that would be a huge, like we said, a tool, part of the toolkit to help further investigate any form of flow, which is great. So if I was a new user, then what would be the first thing I would need to do to get started with ProCap?
Grab a desk fan and take a day off and play with it. That's really the point. I mean, it's a game, right? It feels like a game, and if you're interested in the topic, which I assume the user would be, it just to take it, put it together. So it's basically two USB connections, one from the camera, one from the probe that the software is running on a laptop. So you can set that up on your desk as we do with our little wind tunnel.
Okay.
And then give yourself time to explore, get familiar with different measurement approaches than traditionally. There you have all this complicated equipment that needs setting up and calibrating and whatnot. And just like explore what the capabilities are and what the best way for you to use it is.
So
Don't
just have
be
fun with
afraid.
it. Just explore, just have fun. It's a quick setup. You can't break it. You're gonna just explore and change things because, like you said, it comes with the software. So you're basically gonna be integrating what works for you and what doesn't work for you based on the software and kind of play around with the software on how you want those measurements to read back to you. So it is a little bit, like you said, a little bit of a game. That how you change, because I've seen previously, like you can change the setup of where the probe is measuring, whether it's from the front of the car, the top of the car, the side of the car. So all that is in the software. You can play around that 3D image on how you want to, in future, use those to make the measurements come out the way you want them to, basically.
Absolutely.
So have some fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to dive into the next question. What are the common, we've obviously said that it's like an easy setup, it's good to go, it's real life flow, but I'm going to obviously maybe ask a tough question is, what are the common challenges people face, like users in particular, that you know that currently have a ProCap system? What are the challenges that they face and how would you help overcome them?
It's maybe not so much a challenge, but a fear.
Okay.
In those environments, like commercial wind tunnels, people are used to get the most precise instrument and gather as much data as they can and really plan carefully ahead to do so, because that's expensive and time consuming.
Yeah.
And we are providing now a tool that gives a lot of information in a very short time, but can't cover the last 5% of like highly resolved, time resolved data that you might need in some areas. And traditionally, all the instruments were geared towards the most complicated task they will have to cover. Now we provide a simple tool that can do 95% of what's out there. And so people are a bit afraid of, can I do that? Is it really scientific, or is it just a toy? And that's kind of a tough fear to deal with, right? Because as I said, you have to play with it, and it is fun, but it's hard measurement data, and people have to become comfortable with something that they can use in a very simple way, but still crank up to a higher level when they are ready for it. So
and would you say maybe another challenge is setting up, because obviously that demonstration that we saw earlier was a really miniature version of a true setup. So in a real life setup, for instance, an actual wind tunnel, can that be a little bit of a challenge in an actual wind tunnel where the camera needs to be placed, where your probe needs to be put in the correct place to measure the flow? Would that be a challenge for users, that they think it's going to be difficult, but in theory not?
It's a bit the same fear, right? You can sit in your office, plan for 2 weeks, and then come up with all the reasons that like will prevent you from measuring. But you just go in and try, and then you find a good camera position, or you have a camera position that's not covering what you want to look at, so you just change it.
Okay.
And it is maybe at the beginning, when you don't have much experience, a bit difficult to like prepare, but you have the option just to try, and you need to go into that trial and error phase, because it's so quick, and you can directly see if it works or not.
Overcomplicating it.
Yes, that's the right word. That's the right word. And people are used to overcomplicating their setups because they had to in the past.
Okay.
They're not used to that approach. Just have a look, right?
And so Streamwise have taken that complication out by making this product ProCap, making it easy to test now in the future in wind tunnels. Obviously it's live visualization. So when we go, I'm going to still be in that frame of mind of a wind tunnel. So in a live demonstration, live measurement setup, we've got everything set up. How does the camera work, the probe work, and obviously you've got the software sitting on the laptop. I'm assuming you have to have the laptop in the wind tunnel with you, or is the laptop outside the wind tunnel? Who's taking those measurements? I know it's a lot of questions, but all in one. But just thinking, if you're actually in the wind tunnel, how does all those aspects talk to each other?
So you need to see the screen in some way when you take the data. So the very first prototypes, we just collected the data from camera and probe, and then in a post-processing step pulled that together, and there you always end up with not so nice measurement data because you can't observe what you're doing with the measurement. So that's the essential part. And then obviously you need to access the wind tunnel with your probe. So you can put the probe on a traversing system if that's not possible, or then you have to stand in the wind tunnel holding the probe, or in case if it's a closed test section, put the probe through some opening in the wind tunnel wall. So that's its setup depends really on the experiment, or on the facility. If you have an open jet wind tunnel, that's easy because you can access, and you don't need to stand in the flow. If you have a closed test section, you need access to the probe for the probe, and for the camera. So you can also just put camera outside the wind tunnel monitoring the probe and probe inside. It's really flexible. It's not like one general setup. I've also worked one time or a couple of times with the projector. So you have on the wall of the wind tunnel, you have the live image, and the laptop sits outside. So you have to find the best way for the current setup.
It's very user friendly by the sounds of it, because it fits into what your application is, what your industry is. It kind of fits in with you, not the other way around. So you make it work to wherever you need it to be. So yeah, that's amazing. I didn't actually think, because we went to a university recently, and they were doing a wind tunnel test on one of their cars in the wind tunnel, and to see it live, obviously in the bigger scale of things. And one of my colleagues had to be in the wind tunnel with the probe measuring, and the camera was set up, and so they were in the enclosed wind tunnel, so there wasn't an option to be outside and looking at it, and he had the camera set up and the laptop right nearby. So it was really interesting. It was my first time seeing it in action, so it was really interesting to see the entire setup. So that's why I asked how else would it be placed, which obviously sounds like it's very user friendly. It can be outside, inside, on a big screen. So that's great. Because I was just picturing that image.
It's maybe sometimes a bit challenging again for the people that run the wind tunnel, because they're not used to like someone poking around with a probe in their hands inside the test section. So they look a little bit with big eyes at you when you come and say, I need the laptop on the floor, and I need like come around.
Like that's an obstacle. Okay, I'm gonna dive into the next question. So probably opposite to now the challenges is what is one feature you can't live without that when it comes to the ProCap?
You mean a feature of ProCap?
Yes.
It's definitely the real-time aspect. So
Yep,
if
I
you
agree.
have that, you're lost, right? That everything is based on that. You need that feedback, and you need, or everything is built around the human in the loop. So
Yep.
you need to close that loop. Otherwise, you then don't get the fun because it doesn't have that game character, and you're not able to check the quality of your work when you don't look at that in real time. So that's also like now a major area of development and effort in the whole thing.
Okay. So based on that, obviously the thing you can't live without is the flow, which makes complete sense because that is the product. It's not CFD, it's real life flow. So having that real time measurement is amazing that this is even in today's times for engineers because it's instant. So it just will speed up the whole process when they're looking at the applications. So I'm just going to jump back a bit because it would make a lot more sense, I guess, to the audience is how does Streamwise fit into this toolkit and to this ecosystem? Because we covered ProCap, but now yourself, how did Streamwise come about? Because I know you keep saying that the ProCap's like a game. So how did Streamwise even come about, ProCap and Streamwise itself?
That's a bit one
It's
of
a big question.
yes, and it's not it. When you look back, it all makes sense. But when you look forward from the beginning, it's just like no idea, right? And so I spent a lot of time in wind tunnels with optical measurement techniques, and
Okay.
I had a really good professor that was supervising my PhD, and he had like every day a new idea, and that was so inspiring. And there are like bits and pieces of that idea lying around together with the pain of not being able to see what one tries to optimize or to understand.
Yeah.
And so that came from this, and luckily, so about storytelling and history and
It's very interesting.
it's not too boring. Like listen to an old man telling about his life. Luckily, I mean, the missing piece at the time was the motion tracking system, and I was not aware of that technology. It's coming from the movie industry, obviously, and we had like in the university how you say that, a group moving in next to us, and they were working with motion capture systems, and we went visiting them like to get to know them and visit their lab. And I had one of those markers that we use now on the probe in my hand, and I let it drop, and I saw on the screen they had pulled up how that in real time how that bounced off the floor. So that was like the moment I said, okay, now let's try that with the probe. So that was the ProCap part, and then we were luckily enough to kick that off within the university framework. And then I also met my business partner Ben at the university. So he was doing a PhD in CFD, right? And so we're coming back now to the two communities, like the experimental guys and the simulation guys, and we out of this we created the company with the aim not to provide CFD and not to provide measurement, but kind of take the ideas from both sides and yeah, solve a problem.
Yeah, thank you for a little bit of background, because I know we didn't cover it in the start on how, because I said you guys are one of our product partners, so we obviously represent Streamwise, we sell ProCap, so yeah, just just to fill that gap on where you and I sit. So it's very interesting to have that. So thank you for sharing a little bit about your history back in the day.
That's always a pleasure. You don't get often the occasion to like talk about yourself, right? If you do that within a family framework, they always say, "Oh no, not again."
You have a spotlight moment. No one's ever asked you that before. Okay, so I'm gonna 2 more questions left. Is there anything exciting coming in the next Streamwise ProCap? What is happening for the future of Streamwise?
Difficult to say. I mean, it's too many things.
Secrets.
You open the flow, right?
Yeah.
You tap into something, and then you start seeing all the possibilities and that are all of a sudden coming up, and people that get interested and they have their own ideas and they would like to try that. So it's a super exciting moment because we see a lot of customers now being at the level where they overcome fear and explore themselves what's possible with that approach, and that feeds back to us, and that's super cool to have. That hovers drones and uses his virtual headset to do the measurement with our system. We have people that want to drive in a car with it. We have all those kind of things, and that's really cool to be in that.
Yeah, because obviously the whole space is evolving, so it is an exciting time and like you say, you're getting all these ideas from customers coming to you saying, can you do this, and you can't, but you're going to go and explore and make it something. So yeah, no, it's a very, very exciting time. And I know there's been a lot of releases of the different ProCaps, because I know we've got ProCap Professional and then the compact version. So there's different releases going on with both of those at the moment. So that's also, and those are like more upgrades to the existing products. So obviously new and exciting stuff potentially coming out of ProCap by the sounds of it from Streamwise. Okay, the final question that I think everyone waits for is, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to deliver a mail with an airplane. So that was my first.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't make it.
Well, there's still time. It hasn't happened yet.
I don't know how I got it, but I read about people like delivering in Australia, I think, mail by airplane, and I think that's kind of bush pilot idea.
Oh wow!
At home.
No, you can. Yeah, no, that has not happened. They're still driving cars nowadays to deliver the mail. So yeah. There's another moment there for you, Adrian. That a light bulb moment.
It will be autonomous, so no one's sitting in that airplane that delivers the mail.
Okay. So I think that was the final question. I think we've covered obviously the ecosystem, ProCap, a lot of how ProCap is used currently in wind tunnels and different industries, like we said, the aerospace industry, automotive. So it's a really great product for engineers, I would say, that are out there looking to explore their toolkits and expand their toolkits. It's a game changer. And a lot of trade shows that we've been going to, we went one recently with our colleague, and the amount of interest that it grabs people walking past our stand, because it is just so visual. And then when they get attracted to what's actually going on at the end of the stand and what it is, they don't realize that is live, because we've had to actually demonstrate and put marketing signs up to say that this isn't CFD. So it's definitely something that's exciting, that people are really grabbing onto, because it's different, and no one has anything like that at the moment. So no, very, very cool product.
What I particularly like in those situations is that you have people that come to your booth and play with it that have no connection to aerodynamics. So they're like architects and school kids, and just what's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's a good sign.
It's cool. I love it. So it's a great little party trick when you have at a stand at a trade show. Let's take ProCap.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, well, that will wrap up today's session. So thank you for being here today, Adrian, and sharing so much about ProCap, Streamwise, a little bit more about yourself, and obviously the first impressions. I think we've covered a lot of first impressions about ProCap, a bit more that they didn't know about us. So thank you again for being here, and it was a great session. Love talking to you and getting to know a little bit about your history that you haven't shared before, and also what you wanted to be when you grew up, which was also another little fascinating insight. I look forward to the next episode with you all. So thank you very much, and we will see you on the next side.
Thanks, Lindsay.